Doing well. This is your girl Diane. Welcome to another edition of dDTalks. Today we're talking about life, vanity, and ministries. Work of ministry, and the reason I'm doing live is just because in my community we got hit last night by the shocking news. We lost a young, vibrant gentleman, just a hard worker who just went really hard at life, just hustled and did so much, very charismatic, entrepreneur and what have you. In his early 30s, just got snatched away from us, and it hit really hard. It hit hard because it was a rude awakening for so many things. But if you're just joining me right now, we're going to talk a little bit about that and just live vanity in general. And when you hear such things, you begin to question life. You begin to question the quality of your own life. Like, are you really living the kind of life that you ought to be living? So if you're just joining, please let me know your live, that you're with us. Give me a signal, thumbs up, comments, what have you. But most importantly, I need you to share the cast, share the broadcast with your friends, invite people. So that we can all partake in this discussion. As usual, it's always a discussion. I'm just here to bring you like all the hot information, all the relevant information, just things that concern us, hot topic, informational, motivational, spiritual, and what have you, right? So I'm so glad to be here, more so honored and blessed to be here today because honestly, like I said, these kinds of things when they hit you hard, it's an awakening. It's an awakening. You get a chance to look back and just revisit. Your life flashes over you. So a lot of times when you hear the loss of someone, while you mourn for them, but it's usually a time to also reflect and ponder on your own life. I mean, we were really, really shook, hard, shaken. So they say, I barely could sleep the whole night. Just your reminder of your own mortality. Like they say, we are dust, and unto dust we shall return. So, pardon me if I'm a little somber today, not like in the most high spirited mood per se, but at some point you digest it in the best possible way that you can. So I'm listening to you guys. I'm watching. Somber today. Sorry guys. I'm trying to, you know. Mildred says hello, and then you say you can say that again. Yes, for those who are, especially, I will speak to those in the Cameroon community, which is my home country, the land where I hail from. We did lose one very young, dynamic gentleman, Don Prince. This guy was an entrepreneur. This is a young gentleman who took something that was very everyday, you might even call it local, and just put an international spin to it. He just took something very basic and turned it around into a whole industry, like into a whole food chain production. He was into the food and catering industry, hospitality. So he took chicken products, so in Cameroon we have a local dish called kati kati, which is a chicken that is roasted with feathers. And I mean, it's a tedious task to prepare this particular meal, and therefore it's a delicacy when someone does that. He took that particular a thing here and then transform that into something like really big. People would order from far and wide in the US. He would find ways to ship the products fresh and ready for them to digest. I mean, like it was just amazing. I read a little bit of a bio about him. Fortunately, I didn't really know him on an individual basis, but I knew of him. I knew about him. I saw him in the community in different places, but we never really got a personal chance to interact. work. However, it doesn't mean that we didn't have an ear to it. I was, scheduled to have him be interviewed here. Someone had called me and said, Diane, this is someone that you want to interview. And I said, absolutely. I always like to bring people who are forward thinkers, who are just, movers and shakers doing great things out there in the world. I like to bring those people to the platform so they can share what they're doing and how they're surviving and conquering. So basically, he took that chicken and just turned it around. And you followed the recent post, and he was talking about even having a chicken farm. So it wasn't no longer just about grilling, but he was just thinking about how to push and expand that. I mean, just so many dreams, the vision, his vision was massive. I mean, he talked to people, he talked to other entrepreneurs who was getting ready to expand and even go international and build global. I mean, and it just for that to be snatched in a flimsy second, like in a flicker, like just like a light bulb, almost like you turn on the light and you're on, and then you turn off the light, and that's it. The plug got switched, and got called off. So really, that was just a really poignant reminder of, we could be called home at really any given point. Question though is, are you ready? What kind of life are you living in your everyday life? What will be most important? What is the relevant thing that you would say at the end of the day when all is said and done? What will be said of your legacy? You see, a lot of times we get up every day, we go to work, we just mind our business. You're working a traditional job. You get a paycheck. You're excited about the fact that you can pay your bills, that you're basically surviving. But we fail to go back and realign ourselves with the purpose for which we are called into this world, the purpose for which we are born. Sometimes that job is just a means to get you to your ultimate destination, and your destination is really fulfilling the purpose. What is your purpose in life? A lot of times I've had guests who've come through, and I will ask them that particular question, because everybody sort of has a different answer. But if you listen keenly, you realize that purpose revolves around the same thing. They may coin it differently, but purpose is just really going back to that thing, that burning desire, that thing in you, deep down in you, that calls on you, the thing that does not give you rest at night. I think that when you sleep, you wake up, you dream of, you feel like if you do not achieve that particular goal, if you don't get to do it, you feel unfulfilled in life. Are we really? Oh, we're always postponing that particular thing. Ironically, the thing that is going to, and when you are in your purpose, what actually happens is that's when you excel, because you are doing what you were called upon to do. It will come naturally to you. You would shine, because your competition will just understand that you're different. The flavor will be different. There's a spin that you're going to bring to it. It's like you're realizing something. But every time that you just maintain this traditional path where you're just being mundane, you're just being everyday, you're just being routine, just doing the regular job, you're going to find out that you're not going to feel fulfilled. There's nothing wrong with having your hustle, doing your job and everything, but you should never forget to realign yourself with your purpose. So this loss of life, rest in peace, dear Don Prince, Donald, rest in peace. But the loss of his life, if for nothing, I mean, Facebook, different posts, phone calls, people have been talking to one another, crying, mourning, yearly, and all of that. The loss of that particular life is also an awakening. And we've been faced with, so many young lives just being snatched away, sometimes by natural, unfortunate natural disasters, as in accidents, sometimes illnesses, sometimes just different things, right? And those things make you really wonder. I mean, it makes you really question. A lot of times we neglect the key thing, which is, our health. We have health issues that we are not taking care of. So only when they finally depart from us, and then we find out, oh, truth is they actually had this condition. You had that condition, but the life that you're living does not show that you are doing anything to mitigate that particular condition. Yet you're leaving people behind to actually mourn you. In other words, you're being reckless about your life. And now when you actually have family, or you yourself as an individual have gone ahead and procreated, it's a responsibility. You have an obligation, you have a responsibility to make sure that you extend your life as much as possible whenever it is feasible for you to do it. Whatever is in your power, it is your obligation to take care of that. It is your obligation, it is your right to do that, because you owe it to your kids, you owe it to your spouses, to your husband, to your wife, to make sure that you take care of yourself mentally, physically, and emotionally. See, if your mental health is not sane, the rest is dysfunctional. If your physical is not intact, guess what? It trickles. It eventually affects the mental. It eventually affects the emotional. The spiritual side, you must also be spiritually sound. And what does that mean? You must surround yourself, whatever your spiritual guidance is, whatever your God is. You should have the ability to have a sanctuary, a sacred space where you retire to, where you actually go back to and reflect, and just ponder on your life. Everyone must have the ability to have a quiet moment where you retreat and reflect on life. So while we mourn, while this to me is a rude awakening, while it just it is also for us to remember that we are eventually all going to go anyway. No one has a permanent ticket here. No one has a lifetime pass. Everybody has an expiration date. The question is just, when is your expiration date going to occur? When is your timeline? Which is what we all don't know. So the key that will matter is, what is the quality of lives that we are living? Are we good to one another? Are we fair to one another? Are we kind? Are we holding grudges? Are we just being vicious to one another, going out there and trying to destroy other people, just doing all of those things, thinking that you have so much time in your hands, not knowing that you're really truly racing against time? You see, every day that we live, we are ironically also getting closer to the expiration date. I mean, any product, when you have a product, you open it, it says there's a start time when the product was manufactured, and there's an expiration date. It's the same. The only difference with human beings is that we know the start time, which thankfully we celebrate, year after year, which is your anniversary, your birthday, right? And then other things in life come to give us, other pointers, other reasons for us to celebrate. So we have those birthdays that we celebrate. Thankfully, I just celebrated a birthday this past weekend. I'm really just exceedingly and abundantly feeling blessed by this added new year into my life. And then there's the expiration date that none of us really knows. None of us can actually stand here and say, okay, this is how much time I have. But one thing that is promised for me, I'm a student of the gospel, of the Christian gospel. I'm Christian. So according to what I believe in, what is promised unto us is 70. 70 simply means what? You're promised 70. That is what the Bible says. That, I mean, at the very minimum, they promise you that. Now, is everybody going to make it there? Is everybody going to get to 70? We cannot guarantee that. And there are some factors. There's some factors that could affect us getting to 70. As in, if you live a healthy life, you may get to 70, but you're not healthy. And what's the point of living an extended life if you're not really healthy, if you're on a sick bed, if you're bedridden? So the key will be to not only live long, but to also live a long, healthy, quality kind of life. That, while you're living, you're not dependent. That you're living a healthy life where you can still take care of yourself, you can feed yourself, you can ride around, you can take care of you can enjoy your grandchildren, you can enjoy your family, you can still travel, you can do what the good retired people do. You work hard, and so that in retirement you're actually still healthy to enjoy that phase of your life. So there's a phase where you're a kid, a minor, you rely on your parents, you're supposed to do the right things, and then as an adult you just be a good citizen of the world, of the universe, contribute, give back, do good things, and then so that when you retire you can reflect on your life, you can look back and actually pinpoint your accomplishments, pinpoint the things you have a good storybook to look back on, you have good tales that you can tell the younger generation. What is the path, what is the storybook of your life right now? What are you really penciling into your notebook? to your book of life? Does your book, what how would your book read, when you retire at 60 or at 70? How is it going to read? Is it going to say, I was a good person, I helped my people, I helped the community, I contributed, I gave back, I volunteered, I did those things? So what you're going to find out is that it's not your job that's really going to count. At the end of the day, no matter how much you love your job, no matter how productive you are, guess what's going to happen? You need to have a community that you cleave onto. You need to have a family that you cleave onto. If you do not build those good, solid relationships with those people, your friends, family, a community and stuff, guess what happens? When the clock strikes on you, no matter how much your coworkers love you, guess what's going to happen? They're going to pass a basket around. Everybody's going to contribute some money. It may come up to maybe $100, $200, and guess what they're going to do? They're just going to buy a flower, and they'll show up on the day of the funeral and place it on your tomb. That's about it. That's all they're gonna do. They're just gonna be like, oh, we missed this great co-worker of ours, and life continues. So guess what? Outside of that particular job where we spend gazillions of hours in, where we spend all this hours, yes, it is important to have good ties on the job. It is important to build good relationships on the jobs because you're spending time there. So create a harmonious environment for you to actually go there and do good work and not feel pressured and stuff, because pressure on the job would also affect your other life, right? You will carry that pressure over into another one. But the thing is, after you work all those hours and then you come back and you don't have a good family to cleave onto, you don't have good friends to cleave onto, you don't have any ties into your community, guess what? You're living an empty life. You're living an empty life. Your life really should feel fulfilled. Your life should be able to have substance, meaningful living. So if you feel like you do not have that in your life right now, this is a good time to restructure your life. How can you restructure your life? You can just go back. Hey guys, welcome. I see people are chiming in and giving some comments. Thank you for participating. Ngui, I see you. You say you can say that again. No one knows tomorrow. Absolutely, none of us knows. Boy Franco, thank you for saying that. For affirming. We all do not absolutely know what tomorrow has to bring for us. None of us knows. But what I'm just saying is, instead of working, all those countless hours, people work doubles, 16 hours, 20 hours. Some people work so many hours that you don't even have the time. You work so hard to buy the things that you're unable to enjoy. You work so hard, make the money, buy these luxury cars, buy these big, luxury homes, and you are not even able to inhabit in those homes. You're not able to even live in those houses because you're working so hard to pay those bills. So at the end of the day, I think what's important is really the quality. Maybe you may have to scale back so that you can do more fun stuff with your friends. Maybe you may have to scale back, have your weekend so you can spend quality time with your spouse. You can spend quality time with your children. You can spend quality time with friends. You can actually go when you're invited, you're able to actually attend those things, because that's really what life is about. When we live as a community, people are going to invite you. That's part of community building. That's part of the fun of being in communion. We don't always have to fraternize only when we're in sorrow. For us to fraternize in sorrow, it means we're fraternizing in good times. And life is about building those good memories one step at a time. So if we need to focus on that. Work, if you don't need to work 80 hours in 1 week, please scale it back so that you have a healthy quality of life, so that you're not feeling exhausted, you're not too tired for your own children, you're not too tired, and then now you're working all these hours, your children are being raised by other people, they don't relate to you, and then you feel the impact when they become teenagers. Now they can't you can communicate with your own kids. You've lost control of them because you were far gone, you were never around, trying to make money. I understand that you're trying to make money for them, but sometimes kids would much rather, if you were to ask them, they would much rather have you around them, spending their quality of time building those memories with them, than trying to buy them those extra luxuries but they're not having you around. So that support is more important, and I think that those are the things that we should help us really scale back and look at the quality of our lives. I mean, loss of life, I can understand when an older person departs. You can almost have peace and closure to say, you know what, they kind of lived their life, they kind of lived an okay life. I mean, they had a fair chance at life. But when someone is in the prime of their life, I mean, 30s is like primo. You're like at the ultimate, the peak of everything. Your dreams are fertile. You're mature. In this case, he had a wife. He had a kid. I mean, you're building families, you're building structure, you're looking at the future, you're thinking about your next generation. So you're really sowing seeds out there, just doing out there. I mean, this young gentleman sowed so many seeds, just planted into so many other people's lives. It's not like he had super gazillion excesses, but he just gave. He gave what he could when he could. You see, so had he been sitting there and procrastinating, waiting for when I have my millions, that's when I'm going to give back. These stories will not be there to be spoken of him. But he took advantage of any little opportunity that he had to do an act of kindness. So maybe we need to learn from take the good, because no human being is actually perfect. None of us is perfect. I'm pretty sure that when you look hard enough, when you X-ray his life, we're going to find that there's going to be some loopholes. There are going to be some areas in which he was not strong. He was not as strong. Maybe his character failed him in other areas. But overall, because they said that what matters is the end justifies the means, right? So what matters is the sum total. You don't quantify someone by just episodes of things, like one particular element. You sum it all. And right now you can see that when by summarizing his life, when you look at everything all said and done, the summary is that he was a good individual. The summary is that he was a giver. The summary is that he was a caretaker. The summary is that he was loving. The summary is that he was caring. The summary is that he gave. He contributed. He wanted the best for everyone. He just did so much, in that short little span. The question is, I'm asking you, what have you done? What are you currently doing today to impact another human being's life? So life is always never really about us. That's why when people talk about purpose, you would find that our purpose usually is always linked to a cause beyond you, that is outside of yourself. If your purpose revolves only around you, if your purpose is only about fixing you in life, you have not found your purpose, because your purpose is interconnected to other lives. And if you fail to play your role in fixing that particular, tagging onto that particular purpose, again, I'm saying this, your purpose is never only attached to you. Your purpose is always tied to other people. Purpose in life, which is linked to fulfillment, is always tied to a greater cause that goes beyond you. You must go outside of yourself. If you find something and you're calling it your purpose that is only helping you, what you have found is a job, or what you have found is something to make you money. That is not your purpose. Your purpose goes beyond you. Purpose in life is always linked to other human beings. It is a cause. It is something that you're going to do. Purpose is either you're solving a solution, you're fixing a problem, you're giving to, you're enhancing. It is always associated. It always revolves around that. So if you are, let's say, you discovered, let's say, a medication, that's going to cure other human beings. That is a purpose, because it is beyond you. You cannot find a medication that fixes only you. So the medication is going to help other people, is going to heal other people. That is logical. You find a school that will educate other people, that will help other lives. You create a foundation, an orphanage. You do something for the sick. You care for the widows. You're doing things. Those are purposes. Those are things that touch and impact other lives. You invent a car, a new technology. It is something that will solve a problem. You discover that maybe the way the juice machine, a fruit machine, the way it's done, it doesn't blend the fruit in a particular way, and now you figure out another way of doing it. That is a purpose. You've discovered something that would make it better. So you're fixing a solution, you're solving a problem. So purpose is always something that goes beyond you. If your purpose may be just you're a peacemaker. Your purpose may be to go out there and minister and preach the gospel out there to other people. And by preaching the gospel, it means you're saving lives. You're bringing salvation onto other people, because they say, what is it that man would profit the world, you will profit everything and lose your soul. So you gain the world and lose your soul. What does it profit you, really? It cannot profit you that you gain the world and lose your soul. So if you go out there, spend all the time, acquire all that wealth, that does not go 6 feet deep with you. You acquire it all, you amass it all. Yes, it's great. What you have done is you have, passed on to your next generation. If you're so blessed to have one, you pass on to the next, because somebody is going to acquire that. And and if you do that, and all you've done is just bless your family, that's also great. But always do other things, leave those footprints that are out there helping. To me, part of dDTalks is also a purpose, because this, what I'm doing, I'm speaking to the world. I never know on any given day who's listening. I never really know. I have no control over who's listening. But there's someone out there who hears a word, who listens to something, takes it registers to that money, blesses their life. And so if it's blessing their life, it means I'm doing something that is beyond me, because I can take that knowledge and sit on it. But the fact that I found the courage to say, you know what, I'm just going to go speak. I don't know if I'm going to have one listener or I'm going to have 10 listeners. I don't know if I'm going to have 20 listeners or I'm going to have 100 listeners. I never know. But I still go out there believing that if it's that one person, I'm speaking to that one person that particular day. Every day the message may not be for you, but for every day there's a message. The message is for one particular individual. And if it blesses one particular individual, I have served my purpose for that particular day. So I'm saying, and your passion is always things that you do that you don't lose sleep. You don't worry about. You don't worry if you get paid for it. That's, in other words, you can still go at it. You can still wake up and do it regardless of the fact that you're being paid or not. So I'm asking you, I want to challenge you guys. If you just feel that you're just wandering out there, just looming around, just feeling that sense of emptiness, you're coming home and feeling devoid of something, seek help. Go to an expert. Call someone who has figured this thing out. Call an expert who knows how to help you identify your goal, so that you don't waste any more time. For me right now, I'm not doing this solo. I'm still working the job and I'm still doing this, but I'm already in my purpose lane. I'm already on my purpose. I'm on track. I'm fulfilling destiny. I'm fulfilling what I was called upon to do. There's so many other things that I'm doing, and it's because it is a clear vision. It's a clear picture. There are dreams that were invested in me for donkey years. And what I realize is that no matter how much I try to derail from it, I can't sleep. I can't wake up. I keep going back to the same thing. I go round and round in circles, and I find that I still come back to the same thing. So that's how come I know for a fact that I am in the lane for which I was called upon to do. I am also, I also have the passion for the curvy women and stuff, as some of you may already know. I'm passionate about that. I've found that just about everything that I've always done has always revolved around that. So those are the things that I do. It's just about helping other women embrace and love their curves. It's about inclusion, not exclusion. People are so quick to exclude other people, but we're trying to say that, why are you worried about excluding other people? You see, this Reminders of Life is saying that, we are all going to exit out of here. Why are you worried about excluding someone? Worry about fixing yourself. Worry about being included. Just worry about just stay on your lane. If people just really focused, if we all just really focus and try to just stay, just look on your track. You're running that race. Don't worry whether the guy behind you is running. The guy behind you see, the thing about race is that the guy behind you may start off really strong, but guess what? They didn't train for resistance. So 10 minutes after, they lose their breath and they get sidetracked. But what you were doing all along is you were training not only for resistance, you were training for endurance, you were training for sustainability. So guess what? Even though you started at a slower pace, you have the resistance to keep you going. So you can go steady, and guess what? Slow and steady can still win the race. Someone fast and flimsy can lose the race. So don't worry about the fact that your neighbor is racing faster. Don't worry about the fact that you started out with this person and all of a sudden today they're doing this. Today they bought this humongous car. Today maybe they bought a mansion. You just don't know what they did to get there that fast. We need to not worry about them. You will still catch up. If you bought the house 3 years from today, do you still have a house? You have a house. So it doesn't really matter. Focus about your own plan, your game plan strategy. Buy something that would work for you. Do things that would be remembered. There are just some excesses that we do, that we try to cling on to, that are really not relevant. Just think about the things that we've bought sometimes in our homes that are just sitting there. Pieces of equipment that you just saw out of emotion, you bought them. And then you come home and then you realize that it really has no purpose. You were excited about it when you saw it, but then it really has no place, no more purpose, and you find that you're just collecting junk. What kind of junk have we collected in our life? This is a good time to go out and purge them, to cleanse them. True Dog, Rick, thank you. Paul Bia act like he knows tomorrow. Boy Franco, we're not even going to deal with it. See, the thing is that Bia is a ticking time bomb, as in, it's just a matter of time. So whether he likes it or not, the clarion call is still going to come through, right? And I was just talking about I was talking about purging yourself, purging your life. See, excess baggage is not only about the physical things that we have. Excess baggage could be things like, anger. What are you hanging on to? You're hanging on to so much anger. What are you really angry about? Maybe you're angry about the fact that, your mom was not good to you. Your mom treated your brother better than your sister. You're so angry at them. And now you miss out on so many other things in life. You miss out on so many other family functions. So much love that is coming from other people around you because you're hanging on to this anger and it's preventing your view of life. You're hanging on to the wrong things, and then tomorrow, 3 years, 2-3 years down the line, you hear, bam, there's a phone call. That person, that mom, that auntie that you were cleaving onto, you hung onto, that anger is gone, and then you suddenly realize that what, that anger was so irrelevant. You suddenly realize that it was so not worth it. That it was not worth the time, it was not worth the pain, it was so not worth the anger. So sometimes you need to really sit back and evaluate, why am I really angry at this person? Why am I harboring on things that will profit me nothing? Or you see someone being so happy, just free spirited, and you're upset, you're envious of them. Let loose of envy. Envy will take us nowhere. Yes, for a brief moment it's okay to look at somebody and desire what they have. But envy is the point where you cross over and it starts affecting you negatively, where you have admired and now you want to destroy what they have. That's envy. So not only do you admire, but now you say, what, because you have it, you desire evil for them, you desire failure for them, you desire things, you want them to lose what they have just because you envy them. Don't let envy consume you. Those things are baggages that weigh you down. This is a time, by the way, it's also January, it's also the beginning of the year. It's a fresh start. It's a good time for us to really just release, just cleanse, detox. We had a holiday, a long holiday. We ate so much junk. It's a time to, cleanse your life, not only from the foods that we eat, but also emotionally, internally. Let's release those things. The less of those things, think about it. When you're going on a journey and you get to a place and there's an overload. The car is overloaded, there's too much baggage and you're stuck in the mud. What happens is that you will have to basically, you will have to release the luggage, right? You have to offload your baggage before you're able to continue the journey. At some point, if they had to push that car, you will have to unpack and everything. We're going to take a short minute break, and I'm going to introduce my guest to you. Just hang on, guys. And my guest is coming through. So, guys, while you're here, if you're just joining, please... if you're just joining the show, please tag, invite, and share. Invite your friends. Let them know we are live. We're talking today about just life vanity. Vanity, those trivial things that just wear down upon us. And we're talking about ministry. Guys, I shared with you earlier that I have a guest with me. It's a privilege to have him. The first half I was just really just trying to vent, just trying to release some of the things that were heavy upon my heart as far as the loss of this young gentleman, which is about life, a poignant reminder of the quality of lives that we are all living. But since my guest for the day is in the house, I mean, this guy is super, super busy. Okay, so I am beyond privileged to have him, to have a few minutes of your time today. He's called Minister Philip George. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
I know you had to do a lot of running around, moving your
Yes.
schedule,
Yes.
everything just to be here.
It's an honor.
Yes, thank you so much. So, Philip is also minister. Philip, pardon me. Okay, he's also he has the apostolic mantle. I feel like the timing of him on the show today is I just want to say the universe is aligned because we're talking about life and this is an ordained minister. I hope that in the short few minutes that we have, he's going to speak some words into your life that would really impact somebody who is listening today. He's a minister, of the gospel. He's into ministry, does a lot of work. He's a singer, songwriter, keyboardist. This guy is mean on the keyboard, okay? Like mean. When they say mean machine, he can play your life away, okay? So I want to welcome you once again. I know you were out there doing God's work for the kingdom.
Yes.
So we were just before you came, I was just sharing with people about just life, vanity, and stuff like that. And I just wanted you to perhaps you can just go in tune with what we're talking about. Just give me your thoughts. We lost a young gentleman in the community, and people usually want some kind of explanation. They want to understand why. Why would God take a baby? Sometimes you will give birth, and then you will lose a baby who is only maybe 2-3 months old. You would wonder why. Like, this baby did nothing. They committed no crimes. And then you have someone who lose a 70-year-old, a 60-year-old, a 30-year-old. And then sometimes the things, it doesn't make sense. It becomes senseless to us. Do you have anything that could sort of help or give people a word, something that could just help to heal some wounds, or just kind of give an explanation to that?
First of all, thank you for having me on the show.
Yes, you're welcome.
Don't mind my voice; it's a little bit gone, but I appreciate you so much. This is such an honor to be here serving. First of all, I'd like to say that everything that has a beginning has an end.
Yes, Lord.
If there's a beginning, there's definitely an end. Life is not in the duration. It's not in duration, but it's in donation.
Life is not in duration, but it's in donation.
It is in donation, and that's powerful. If people realize that it's not so much of how long you live, but how well you impact people.
I think you're just like confirming the things I was talking about. So this, how perfect is that? Go on.
And so it's very important that people realize that we're not from here. We came from somewhere.
Yes.
And the Bible says that we're in God in the beginning, and God created us and threw us into time. And with time there is a purpose. The Bible says, it says, before you were formed in your mother's womb, I knew you, and I ordained you a prophet.
Jesus.
That means you had a name before you existed. And this is so powerful, it's significant that people realize that you were existing before you came into time. And so
you were existing before you came into time.
But when you came into time, you were sent here for a purpose.
Whoa.
And purpose is bigger than life itself.
Hallelujah. So God, you are in this atmosphere.
If you understand why you were created, if you understand it, if you just get it, Jesus. If you can get the reason why you were created, to everything under heaven, there is a time, and there is a season, and a purpose to everything. That means you and I came here for a reason.
Yes.
And that reason is called the purpose. And the purpose for which you were sent is greater than your life itself. So,
Lord,
in other words,
mercy.
That means God looked on earth and he said there is something missing. There is nothing. There is something I want to do. There is something I have to do.
Lord have mercy.
But I can't do it unless I send Diane.
Oh, Jesus.
Because only you can do what you've been sent to do.
Only you.
Only you can do it.
You have a mandate, and that's exactly what I say. Every individual has a mandate. So if you are living out of your purpose, you're missing the reason for which you were called upon.
Yes.
You're missing your destination, why you are existing.
Yes. And it's powerful that you say that, because I say this all the time. The worst form of success is to succeed in another man's assignment.
Oh, hey, Jesus. The worst form of success is to succeed in another man's assignment.
Yeah. Think of it this way. If you were a CEO, and I know you are, and you sent someone to buy you McDonald's because you wanted burger, and they left and went and came back, but when they came back, they went to 7-Eleven to get you hot dog. Even though you were hungry, and the idea for sending them to go to McDonald's was because you were hungry, and even though they had a good intent and they came and successfully brought you food, they have also failed in completing where you sent them to.
Oof, Jesus.
And so we have people today in life fulfilling another man's purpose. And so I call such people successful failure.
Dream stealers.
Yes.
That's what they are called.
Yes.
You steal someone's dream, accomplish them, and you think you have succeeded.
Yes.
Lies.
And this is deep. And so
Lord,
when we come to life, we have to realize that we're sent here for a purpose and for a reason. If you find your purpose, what you do with it is so significant. That's why, watch this, great men, a lot of great people that we know of, they didn't live long.
yes.
Look at Martin Luther King.
They found a purpose. They needed just X amount of time to complete it.
If you can only
You don't need too much time once you know it.
Yes. If you can only find it, some people, if you can find it on time, matter of fact, you start running from your mother's womb. Because, listen, your season on earth has a time allocated to it.
Oh, my Lord.
So your time here, it's very important, because what you do with your time will determine where you go after this.
Yes.
So it is true that someone has passed. It is painful that someone has passed. It is time for us to probably mourn this person that passed. But there are two questions
The mourning
here.
will endure.
There are two very powerful questions here. Two very powerful ones. The first one is a reflection. Someone is gone. For you that is still a witness.
Right.
For you that still has breath. You know, I came across a scripture recently that blew my mind. It shook me in the book of Psalms. It said, I slept. I woke up because you sustained me.
Ooh.
I jumped up. I was like, whoa. That means God decided to slap you back to existence one more time.
And yet we take it for granted.
So you can make it right.
So the fact that you have another day, that you are in this moment, in this time, is for you to continue either the purpose for which you have, or to find it and get on track.
That's it.
No other two things.
Yes.
To continue or to realign yourself.
And it's powerful. One day I was in a funeral service, and the person came and said these words. He said he went to another funeral service. And when the funeral service was over, and they were going to go bury the person, on the entrance to the cemetery, on the entrance was written an inscription that says, "We were once like you."
Oh.
And when they got in and finished the burial ceremony, on their way out was another inscription that wrote, "You'll soon be like us." Every one of us will pass someday.
No one has forever.
You don't have forever to do what God has asked you to do.
Wow.
Still.
So he's going to ask, when he asks you, did you? Like, what do you have to say, Lord? Like, servant, tell me. What is your report card going to
Yeah.
say?
And
Wow.
it's powerful that you say that, because on the last day when they asked, it would not say, how long did you live? It would say, well done.
Well done, my servant.
That word well done means that I gave you a job to do, and you finished the job and came. And now that's why we're not from here, we're from there. And so we're going back there. That's why it says, well done. That good and faithful servant. Seeing that you have accomplished everything that was said for you to do.
Ooh, wee.
And so it is a time of reflection for people, not just to mourn someone that has passed, but to reflect on your own life.
Yes.
On your own life. Listen, I know you got viewers, and it's very important that everyone understand that in your purpose is time. And that time that has been given to you, time was given to measure your purpose on earth. That's why
time was given to measure your purpose on earth.
Given. That's the
Wow,
reason
too many
for time.
nuggets. Yes.
That's the reason for time. Time, it's so powerful. God created man, threw him into time, and he doesn't live in time. It threw him into something that he does not live in. Because it gave you a purpose, but it gave you a time, a duration to accomplish that.
Yes.
And so if you've fallen short, it's time to catch up. It's time to pay yourself the time you've lost. This is the reason you can't waste time, because time is your life.
Time waits for no one.
It's your life. It's the only thing you have. In a little while, you and I will stop breathing. But what will be your account when you stop breathing?
Lord have mercy. What will really be your account? I'm telling you, man. Listen, we can just talk so much about time. We can talk so much about this vanity. I talked about it. And what is just saying is just how much, when they say the spirit is one, you just came to reconfirm, like just add it to what I was already saying earlier.
Yeah.
And I feel like anybody who's listening to this particular thing, there is a message in it for you. And the biggest thing was really about your purpose. So life, those of us, is really for the living.
Yeah.
It's for the living.
That's heavy.
One person who is gone, their story ended. We are going to mourn. We're going to close that chapter. But you who remains, what would you do differently?
Yeah.
For them, at least now they're able to go back, because think about it. The scripture says, when somebody goes to heaven, when you think about the worship,
Yeah.
the joy that is in heaven. Matter of fact, we should be rejoicing that there's a saint that has been risen, that is joining up there. When you think about how beautiful heaven is,
Yes.
sometimes you would have to beg for for forgiveness, that I'm sorry that I'm really spending so much time mourning, because at the end of the day we are trying for us to get to that beautiful place.
Yes.
So let's not really dwell so much on the finality of things. Let's try to find peace and closure, but also realign ourselves back on track to what it is that we are called on. You are a worship minister.
Yes, I am.
You have created so many schools.
Yeah.
You have school of worship, school of just name them for me. Help me. He is the founder of School of Worship. Teaches other people how to really praise and worship. People don't understand how powerful worship is to God. Why did you choose, all of these schools, and what was the burning thing in your heart that led to this? I know music has been in your foundation from way back when. Maybe you want to take a couple of minutes. We're narrowing down on time, so just help me, share, so that at least the audience gets to know a little snippet of who you are and what you really do on your everyday life.
Okay, let me make this real quick. Going way back, I've been in music for, I believe, close to 30 years now, so something like that. But I've always loved to worship. I've always wanted to teach, but I didn't really quite find my purpose until recently. That's strange, but it's true. You can do a lot of things that God has not sent you to do, and think that it is what it is. But uh, the Bible says in the book of Psalms, it said, the Lord is king all over the earth. Praise the Lord your God with understanding. Psalm 47 verse 7, I believe. So when you find yourself, when you have understanding in a thing, it causes you to be effective. 2010, May the 10th, I died for about 2 hours. And
Wow.
I went to heaven, found myself in the road. To cut the long story short, whilst I was there, it's a long
So
line.
medically dead for 2 hours, guys.
Yes, it was a long line. And then for some reason I thought I was going to make heaven. So, but when it got to my turn, after so many people, I saw some people go to the right, to the left. When it got to my turn, I started walking towards the side that I believe was going to heaven. And the man said to me, "Where are you going?" I said, "I'm going that direction." He said, "That direction leads to heaven. That's not the direction you should go. You should go to the next direction." I said, "But that direction leads to hell." He said, "Yes, that's where you should go." I said, "But why?" I started crying so hard. And he said to me, "Because your worship was wrong." I said, "What does this mean?" He said, "Every time you worship me whilst you were on earth, you were considering the people.
Oh,
You would
my
look at your
Lord.
pastor, and when they nod their head, that meant your worship was acceptable. When you looked at the people, if they danced, it meant your worship was possible, was
Wow.
accepted, which is not always the case. So my worship was limited. It was limited. It was controlled by my environment.
Wow.
And so it took me and showed me hell. I saw a lot of people that I knew that were in hell. It brought me back, but he said to me, "I'm going to give you one more chance
Jesus.
to go teach my people how to worship."
Jesus.
So when I came back, it took a whole new turn completely in my ministry, because now I'm not just here
Wow. This is
for
like so
anything.
powerful.
It is much more an assignment that I have to fulfill.
Wow.
And so it gave birth to so many things. I was still running away, but just the last year, I've been able to officially, even though there's a lot of people I've impacted, officially I was now able to open a school of worship. And what we do there is teach people. It's not school of music. 'Cause
Yes, it's
two
different.
things.
School of music is you're learning instruments, you're doing all of that. Worship, how to commune
Yes.
with your God.
We're doing worship, so yeah, we teach a lot of stuff from evangelism to prayers to reaching out to the community, giving
Wow.
to music itself, and the whole 9 yards. And then we do that a year once. We have different semesters, and so we have the next semesters opening this Monday actually. Coming, God has been able to help us in 3 months. The level of impact and the miracles that's been happening.
Wow.
I'm talking about, we set up in the midst of rehearsal, all kind of healings taking place, all kinds of miracles. Through the music, I've seen people cancer jump out,
Jesus.
I've seen tumors
Jesus.
jump out. I've seen all kinds of miracles, migraines gone, and some constructive miracles that is just, mind blowing.
Wow.
People that have made up their mind to commit suicide, I can't count. They changed their mind in the midst of
Wow.
all this. So, and so that's what we're doing now. So, but God has helped us. We've been able to open in Maryland. We're opening the next class, and then we're opening the next one in Houston.
Okay. Yeah, so basically, I mean, I just want to, just say that I think this has to do with the obedience
Yes,
to your purpose.
yes,
That, so you said you were dancing around it, you kind of knew,
I was.
but you were hovering around it.
Yes.
So, but just look at the power of your obedience, that once you obeyed the call and submitted yourself to it, look at the release.
Yes.
Look at all the anointing. Look at the blessings, how the mantles
Yes.
that just began to manifest itself in your life.
Yes.
So these things were already vested in you,
Already there.
but it was waiting for you to say, I'm ready.
I'm ready.
When you submitted, God released.
Yes.
That's what it really was. He gave you now the authority. Say, you already have it in you, but I'm just waiting for you to say, I'm ready. I'm ready to go.
That's what it was.
So you have the School of Ministry already in the state of Maryland.
Yes.
and then now I think you have a class coming up.
We have a class this Monday.
And you have the next one. You say in Houston, when is it starting?
In Houston, it's gonna be January the 29th.
Okay.
In Maryland here, there's an ongoing class. It's gonna be the second class coming. What you would call it? The spring session is gonna be January 23rd.
Okay.
Every Tuesday.
So Phil, Minister Phil.
Yes.
Pastor Phil. I mean, he is that anointed. Guys, how can people find you? How can they locate you? If someone is trying to figure out how to get to you, they want to maybe attend one of your services, they want to see, I know you have some crusades too sometimes, events that are going on. Is there anything that you have coming up in the pipeline that people can find, can figure, how can they reach you?
I think the best way would be, we have a website called worshipcultureglobal.com. You can look it up. Worshipcultureglobal.com. The second way you can reach us is go on Facebook and type worship culture. We're there. The third way is you can reach me on Philip George on Facebook. It's Philip George with one L and Philip George the second as well. Two of them. And then on Instagram, you could catch us on Worship Culture Global on Instagram. And I am Philip George on Instagram.
Wow, so guys, you figured out how to reach. I'm telling you, I just, it's a shame. You have to come back.
I know.
You just, it is so not right. You have to come back because this audience deserves, to hear more from you. We are like completely running out of time. I just want to leave them with one message. One thing that you want them to just one word, anything that comes to your mind that you want to leave them with, so that we can close the evening. I can't believe the hour ended, but share something that you want them to know.
I want you to know that Jesus loves you, and it's just waiting. It's waiting. It's still waiting for you to answer the call. For those of you that have answered the call, there is a greater place to go. It wants you to come even higher, and it's waiting. We have so much to take care of in the word. Let's go do it together. Amen.
Hallelujah. I mean, when you just answer and just join in and celebrate God, it's such a beautiful thing. Submit to the call, guys. Just give yourself. I give myself away.
There you go.
So you can use me. Right? So let's give ourselves away so that He can truly use us, and use us in a capacity, use us in our lane. Guys, it's been real. It's been an honor. It's been a privilege. For those who are mourning, I am mourning with you as well. For those who are celebrating, guys, let's celebrate. Life is, we still have to move on at some point. We will mourn with those who are mourning, but at some point, don't find the strength to move on and leave. But when you leave life purposefully and intentionally. Find that purpose. Realign yourself with God, because at the end of the day, you're going back to your master. And when you want to go back to your master, you want to say, well done. The only way to get well done is to do it right here on earth. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you, Minister Philip, for being here. We go way back, by the way, guys.
There you go.
And so it's a privilege to have you. And by the way, he tours with Sonny Badu. And I have a crush on Sonny Badu. So he tours with Sonny Badu all the time. So you always see him there. The guy on the keyboard doing all kinds of stuff. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. Share the broadcast, tag everyone. It's been your girl, Diane, and I love you passionately. I always like to sign off by saying, if no one has told you that they love you, Diane, I love you, and I love you passionately with the love of God. Go out there and make it a blessed week. I'll see you next week. Bye for now. Ciao. I guess we just ciao.
Is making a decision. And a lot of people think that success in Ambit is kind of like is running an oval track.